back after almost a week. This time, we're going to be making our way through Old Yharnam, Burning Band Home of Beasts. I just finished playing a little bit of League of Legends. That's one of my days off this week, so I figured I might as well stream some. I ain't got much else to do, plus I've been in a little bit of a mood for Bloodborne this week, so I figured why not. Earlier I was also playing a game on Roblox called The Final Stand 2. Don't play Roblox very much these days, but I do occasionally if I ain't got much else to do. But the game I was playing called The Final Stand 2 is comparable to Nazi Zombies, but there's you're defending a shop, and you don't defend it from the inside, you defend it from the outside, unlike most of the maps on Nazi Zombies. But the gimmick of the game is that basically as you defend zombies, the shot from the zombies, you get a bunch of gold to spend on guns and upgrades for those guns. And the waves get progressively more difficult, and every 5 waves there's a boss. Also, every 5 waves there's a shop that arrives called laser weapons, which are generally stronger than regular weapons, though often you can't upgrade their damage. But they you don't have to reload them. Well, not in the conventional sense. You still have to reload them technically, but they don't use ammo. They you just recharge them. They have a cooldown time effectively, and generally stronger weapons take longer to cool down. But laser weapons are considerably more expensive than regular weapons, and to even make the laser shop sell the laser minigun, you need 100,000 cash, and I don't know how much the laser minigun itself actually costs. But my friend Logan on Roblox, his name is No One Plays Legit, used to be Cookie Eater 70, but he made a private server for him and I to play in. But since he's at a friend's house today, I decided to play some solo to see how far I can make it solo. And I actually made it 30 waves in, which by that point, I honestly don't think the game is really able to be done solo anymore, because I had pretty much one of the best guns in the game equipped, and I was also using I had as much defenses upgraded as I could, etc., etc., and the zombie waves were more or less undefendable. My RP, which is one of the strongest guns in the game, was fully upgraded, and it still took like 4 or 5 shots to kill those zombies, and the waves were like 300 zombies at that point. So I legitimately don't think it was able to be done solo at that point. I had 2 snipers on the roof of the shop as well that were also fully upgraded, and I had a barricade that was also fully upgraded, and a sentry gun that was also fully upgraded, helping me defend, and I still could not defend from all of that. So I was able to last most of the night, but I was not able to succeed.
You are a skilled hunter.
The beasts of Old Yharnam aren't overly threatening individually, much like they are in the earlier areas of the game, but they also can inflict poison on you here, and from this point forward, Jura, the hunter up there, is going to be pelting me with bullets from a minigun, so I have to keep moving. Rally potential at this point in the game is able to usually get you back to full health if you're using the Hunter Axe, if you're able to retaliate well. because the Hunter Axe has more rally potential than the other two starting weapons. I think it has the most you can have on a weapon at this point in the game. except for maybe the Kirk Hammer, which I'm actually not sure if it has more rally than the Hunter Axe. I don't think it does. I'm not sure though. But because of the fact that Hunter Axe has an extremely good rally potential, he's able to use that quite well, getting basically any health he back. There be some more fire fever, which is excellent for the boss of the area, the Footstar Beast. Extremely fire. A fire paper on its own will make you do pretty much enough damage to kill it quite easily. Throwing oil urns on top of that will usually make it die very, very fast. Also, a lot of the enemies in the area tend to drop antidotes, so even if they do inflict poison on you, it's usually not overly threatening. And there are antidotes scattered throughout the area. Which more often than not, I try to save for the other areas. It's not very easy to get poisoned here. The amount of slow poison they actually use is not overly significant. As you can see, I'm not like try-harding or anything on killing them. I'm not trying very hard to dodge them. I just tank one of their shots and then retaliate, which is not a advisable tactic unless you're fairly okay at the game, as it is rather risky. But this hunter here that I'm trying to lure out, he's sitting over there firing at me. As you can see, he tries to bait you out so that Turek can hit you with a minigun. He will pursue. Which, the thing is that whenever he comes down here, he will try to go back up the stairs. And he won't really do much else. So he is quite easy to cheese. As you can see, I'm sure he's quite tanky. Dropped 6 bone marrow ash and about 800 blood echoes. So he is quite worth killing. Jura the Hunter up here is much more difficult to deal with, as he does a lot of damage, though he is also relatively easy to cheese, due to the fact that if you knock him off, he will die, which most weapons don't possess enough stagger potential to knock him off quite easily, but a Hunter pistol or a blunderbuss, if you're in a solid position to start with, can also suffice in a pinch. There he goes. What people don't realize is that you can exit the game. Badge that he normally will drop will be right up here. But I don't want to have to go back to Hunter stream, because I usually do end up needing to use close to 5 or 6 blood vials on him, sometimes more, depending on how well I'm playing, which, because I am talking on the stream, I'm not playing as well as I normally do. Not by a great deal, but it's a tad distracting, so I can't play fights as well as I do whenever I'm able to focus a bit better. I'm not sure if you guys hear that, but all of those groans are coming from a load of beasts that are down there. Something that I did not know of for a couple of playthroughs is you can do this to drop that down there and kill most of them. So this right here is Madman's Knowledge. We're going to drop right here. Most of them have aggro by this point. Some Molotov cocktails right there. And if I can make this jump... I've almost made it, but I jumped at a little bit too acute of an angle. There's a bloody head... not bloody head, I can't remember that. It's a accessory for messengers. Madman's Knowledge right there. And I believe most of those creatures are coming from the beasts upstairs. Which I'm going to go that way to grab a few items, so we will see those. This playthrough is not going to be quite 100%, but I will try to get most of the items in the game. I don't know if I'm going to do the Chalice Dungeons or not. I don't particularly enjoy most of them. And after having done a single full run of the Chalice Dungeons, I've kind of seen it all as far as those go. And I didn't really have much of a desire to go through them again. But I might. Depends if we decide we want to. I might also do them in a separate playlist videos. One is just a run of the Chalice Dungeons. It's more or less a gauntlet. Though I do personally find Chalice Dungeons a lot easier to handle if you are a skilled Blood Tinge character or a strength Blood Tinge character, due to the fact that there are some enemies that are a lot easier to deal with firearms in Chalice Dungeons. I don't know their name, but they are enemies that look like they've kind of like the Gaping Dragon mixed with the Moonlight Butterfly, and they've got a single enemy, like lantern type thing that drops arcane haze, and they spit fireballs at you. There's also one in Bergenworth. I cannot remember what they're called, but a firearm makes those much easier to deal with because you can just shoot it. Most weapons don't have enough range to reach the point on them that is their weak point, the little lantern type thing that they have. But Molotov cocktails do work okay on them. I might use the cannon on this character because I am going high strength, and the blood tinge scaling of the cannon is rather negligible. So it wouldn't make a huge difference in the weapon's damage, and I will easily have enough strength to use it around the time I'm going to get it. So I may use it. But the number of Quicksilver bullets that the cannon needs to fire will not be worth killing those things that quickly. I probably won't use the cannon for that. So, the pebbles that these things drop are they're some of the only enemies that are going to be dropping pebbles for a while. The little crows, but later in there will also be more enemies that drop pebbles. But pebbles you'll never really run out of. I don't tend to use them that often. They are quite useful, but most of the time, whenever you can see an enemy, it will have already aggroed on you. So pebbles have limited use, though there are certain situations where they are quite useful. For example, trying to draw out the hunter that was there with Jura earlier. Also, pebbles would work for stun locking Jura off the ledge, though there are better ways to do it. So, actually, I know there's one up here. Oh, it's right there. Oh, not quite. There we go. Come here, my dude. Also, another thing I think is interesting that a lot of people don't know is that visceral attacks actually scale better with skill than they do strength. Also, in the Souls games, strength does not give quite as many points of scaling on a, as far as damage goes, on a weapon that has exactly equal strength and dex scaling. Though the counterbalance to that, at least in Dark Souls, is that while two-handing a weapon, your strength is multiplied by 1.5 for the purpose of scaling, as well as meeting requirements. So you effectively will have a larger damage boost, at least until your strength has hit about 40 to 60. From leveling just strength on versus dex on a weapon that has equal scaling. Though in Bloodborne, I am not entirely sure why that was why they thought that was a good idea, because it makes strength weapons generally not as good as skill weapons, because skill weapons will get more of a benefit from leveling their damage. The strength weapons still do a lot more damage per hit, though they have substantially larger stamina costs, so it's generally not worth it. If you're going for a min-maxy build, at least. Oh, not quite. Generally speaking, the most min-maxy build you can possibly get is Skill Blood Tinge, due to the fact that a lot of like the Chikage will have outrageously high damage with Skill Blood Tinge, and the Bowblade counters pretty much all of the Chikage's weak points, in addition to the fact that you can have firearms that do extremely high damage, like the Evelyn and Frequent Pistol. You generally will have to level your vitality and endurance a bit less on a skill blood tinge build than you would on a pure skill build, due to the fact that you will need to invest points into another stat. Though you would generally not get your skill as high as you would on a pure skill build as you will on a skill blood tinge build. Maybe 40-40 at the highest, and even then you're going to have to level your vitality and endurance considerably less than you would be able to on a pure skill build. But if you're good at dodging, it's not a problem. Just out of the range on that morph attack, so I did take a hit there. And there is another scuttling beast up here. Ooh. There we go. That should give me plenty of bloodstone shards for leveling up my Crook Hammer once I get it. Yeah, I've got like 30, so I will be able to level up my Crook Hammer once I get it, which I will be buying it after Bloodstarved Beast. Not sure how I wasn't able to take the Visceral there, but okay. Oh, they stagger themselves out of it. That's interesting. Alright, so for Bloodstarved Beast, I find that oil urns, Molotov cocktails, and fire paper make this boss exceptionally easy. So generally, they'll throw an oil, buff with fire paper, then throw an oil urn at it, then just hit it. And it is not that hard to parry, so yeah. Learn. Alright. Alright, there we go. The visceral attacks do not apply anything other than physical damage, so the oil urn should still be left. Also, something I love in this game is that the fire paper and fire buff looked exceptional, especially on what like the Chronic Cane. Oh, that one missed. Oh, there's a frame drop. Heal. Oh, it dodged that. Alright, so it's going to be applying poison if I take here, so there's no point in trying to avoid it at this point. Alright. Okay. Oh, not dead. Yeah. That's a little bit embarrassing, but as I did use up all of my oil urns there, and most of my Molotov cocktails, but I got a little bit distracted by trying to maintain my hotbar there, so I was unable to get away from the dodge because I wasn't able to dodge the grab, but we should be able to kill it this time quite easily, so it's not that big of a problem. So the shortcut to get to it is over here. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, if you are unfamiliar, but the shortcut to get to Bloodstarved Beast was over here. I actually passed by this door earlier and opened it before on my way around, but I actually passed by this door much earlier than that whenever I was getting the Hunter's Torch. Which, by the way, arcane builds have a quite easy time with the Bloodstarved Beast because the Hunters are able to dodge. Because of the fact that their damage, which the Bloodstarved Beast is like extremely weak to, they have a difficult time dealing with the Bloodstarved Beast's high damage. Which, it's not even that high damage, it's just much higher than I have the vitality to resist very easily at this point, because I had a bunch of blood echoes on me. Which, that is my fault, but simply because I'm not returning to the Hunter's Dream once before the boss, so I do have a little bit lower stats than I should for fighting the bosses. I fought Cleric Beast and Gascoigne both before even going back to Hunter's Dream to level up, so. But difference is those bosses are a little bit easier than Bloodstarved Beast. Yeah, that was a parry. as I mentioned, visceral attacks do not apply the fire damage from my fire paper, so they aren't outstanding for fighting Bloodborne beasts, but they are not bad. They do give you a moment of downtime, and they also do quite a lot of damage without that. So if you are able to parry it, it's a good idea to parry Bloodborne beasts whenever you see an opening too. Alright, I need to reapply my fire paper now. Also, parrying does not cost stamina, so you can parry while you have no stamina if you don't have stamina to dodge. And I believe it's dead now. Oh, no, I dodged. There we go. Bloodstar Beast is technically an optional boss, provided that you are able to buy the Hunter Chief emblem, but that is quite expensive, so I don't advise it, as Bloodstar Beast does give souls, or not souls, blood echoes, and the ability to access Chalice dungeons, and the entire Old Yharnam branch of the game does have quite a bit of good loot, which I'm going to go back and grab some of the loot that I did not grab because I actually forgot about it, but I do know where it is, so it will not be overly difficult to get to, especially now that Jura is dead. Let's buy our Kirk hammer and upgrade it. We're going to drop the saw cleaver now, since we do not need it anymore. Well, not drop it, but we're not going to upgrade it any more than we need to. Kirk hammer up to +3 should, I believe, require 13 shards, so I do actually have enough to upgrade my saw cleaver. And I'm going to do some blood gem fortification, drop that and that off of our hunter axe, and put the best ones we have onto our Kirk hammer. So it's a up 1.4 and a 2.7%, and that one also boosts its rally potential. So that one, actually, let's put the droplet over here and then the triangle one on, and then we'll give our axe the 1.4 and yeah, this one, the 1.1 up, and HP continues to recover. Blood Gem's damage boosts are not overly large early in the game, but once you get some bigger ones, they become very, very strong. That does not do thrust damage, so that and that. So we're not going to be using our saw cleaver very much, so I'm not going to bother with making sure it has good gems on it. But it's better to have some on it than none, in case one of my weapons somehow breaks. Alright, so I don't think I bought... No, I did not. The Yharnam Hunter set. It's not particularly good, but I think the fashion with it is actually pretty solid, so I will actually invest in that. Don't ever bother to buy the rifle spear here unless you, for some reason, want a second one, because there is a free rifle spear you can get in Old Yharnam. The Hunter Chief emblem is not a good investment of blood echoes unless you decide that you want to skip Bloodstar Beast. So also, unless you have some reason to, don't invest in that.
Welcome. What is it? Very well. Let me...
It is a decent item to invest in if you're doing a speedrun or something, but otherwise there's not a very good reason to buy it.
Farewell.
Though that will cost you a bunch of levels, especially early in the game. Now that we have beat Jura, we can buy the Ashen Hunter set as well. So I'm going to chunk 3 in Madman's Knowledge to be able to afford it, as well as my cold blood. I actually forgot to chunk those. I don't think that got me enough for a level, but Also, it's generally not a good idea to have more insight on you than you need to, because insights adversely affects you in a few ways, mostly in making you have a lower beasthood gauge as well as a lower frenzy resistance.
Welcome.
I don't believe I have enough for another level,
Very well.
but I will check. No, I have just basically just enough for another level.
Farewell, good. May you find your...
Alright, so the Ashen Hunter set is very good for fashion souls, in my opinion, especially the trousers. I think the trousers look good with a lot of different things, and we're going to replace this with our regular Hunter garb, because it looks better with the Ashen Hunter leggings, in my opinion. And we're going to put on our Gascoigne's gloves. No, wait, no, not Gascoigne's gloves. Yharnam Hunter gloves, I think. That's what this... No? We'll just keep our regular Hunter gloves on for now, I guess. But we basically have two colors now, due to having the regular Hunter garb on with a hat. Because normally, I'll show you, if you're wearing the Hunter hat with it, the second color, I know, it actually does stay there as well. Never mind. See, there we go. I guess that looks pretty good. Or we could see the Yharnam Hunter garb looks good with this, which it looks okay. I don't think the Yharnam Hunter garb looks that good with Gascoigne's cap, which is why I don't normally do that. But I think it looks better with the Ashen Hunter leggings than the Hunter garb does, personally. But that is a matter of opinion for you guys. So for those of you who have never seen the Kirkhammer's moveset, I will demonstrate for you. It is one of the few straight swords in the game with a moveset that you would more or less expect from a straight sword. Mostly slashes with a few thrusting attacks. Oop, but I did not get quite to a sprint there. It also has one of the better jump attacks. It doesn't have a large amount of range, but it has pretty solid damage. And there's a backstep R1, which I believe is the same as the running R1. No, running R1 is horizontal, actually. Then there's a feature unique to the Kirkhammer and Ludwig's Holy Blade, in that there's actually an attack out of a morph. It also has morph attack, so it technically has more attacks than any other weapon. It only has a 2-hit combo with R1, but it hits quite hard. Uncharged versus that. The charged R2 hits exceptionally hard, and but does also cost quite a lot of stamina and takes a long time to charge. The backstep and running R1 with the Kirkhammer is not that good. It hits decently hard, but it's not very hard by Kirkhammer standards, and is a little bit slow. It's faster than most of the moves in its arsenal, but it's still rather slow. So it's generally not worth using it unless you need to. And the running R2. It also has the an L2 combo that is pretty strong. The third shot especially is quite hard. And it also has morph attack there, and morph R1. Generally, the Kirkhammer is a strong weapon that you will, especially if you are building a large amount of strength, as its skill scaling is rather low. Compared to Ludwig's Holy Blade, it has slightly higher strength scaling, but it also has lower dex or skill scaling, but it has higher base damage than Ludwig's Holy Blade, unless I'm mistaken. But Ludwig's Holy Blade has a better morph moveset than the Kirkhammer. It hits almost as hard and is considerably faster and has lower stamina costs, so it's generally better, and it's also more varied. While the Kirkhammer is mostly vertical moveset-wise, the Ludwig's Holy Blade has a decent variety. It is largely vertical, but it does have some mix-ups. Or rather, it's largely horizontal, but it has some mix-ups. Though it's generally better to use it in its unmorph form due to the fact that it is quite fast, and it is actually longer than the Kirk Hammer's unmorph form, but otherwise unmorphed actions will have identical movesets. As you can see, it does hit quite hard. In its morph form, it does hit considerably harder than it does in its unmorph form, though it is also, as I mentioned, a lot slower. And this attack was actually dubbed the Great Equalizer by a YouTuber named Scribe, which I believe is rather apt, as it's in the context he was saying it in, he says he calls it the Great Equalizer because of the fact that it does such a high amount of damage that even if you are under-leveled for the area, if you land it, it is likely to do enough damage to, if not outright kill an enemy, do a very, very large amount of damage to it. Also, the Kirk Hammer is one of the worst moves that worst morph attacks in the game, with that one that I just showed there. It does hit decently hard, but it is not very landing to its very low range. And it is also very slow and locks you into the animation for a decent amount of time, and the damage is not good enough to compensate for that. Most morph attacks are substantially faster than that, and as such are a little bit easier to use. So I will show you here. It is capable of locking a single enemy down for a decent amount of time. Alright. Use an antidote here. The Kirk Hammer, because of how slow it is not that good for crowd control. Unlike the Hunter Axe. Oh, that was really bad. Poison, but it does not do any damage other than the poison damage, so it's usually not that big a deal to get hit by it. You just use an antidote, the damage from the crowd is pretty much completely nullified. It is kind of annoying, but it's not that bad if you get hit by it. Also, the Kirk Hammer, which is one of the weapons in the game, the only other one being Ludwig's Holy Blade, it actually has a second R2 attack. That's called by a lot of people the Golf Swing, which I guess is rather accurate. Unlike the Golf Swing in Dark Souls that Ultra Greatswords have, this Golf Swing actually does not launch enemies up, it launches them away from you. So if you are in a situation where you need a breather to heal, if you already did do your fully charged R2, you can do the second R2 on the enemy that you just pancaked to knock them away from you, to give yourself a breather to heal or back up and use another item or something. Which it's kind of useful, though generally speaking, if you did use that attack, you are completely out of stamina, so you will not be able to dodge away. Unless I think you have 40 plus stamina, I don't think it is possible to have any stamina left after the second one, due to the fact that the Great Equalizer costs an assload of stamina. That costs, I believe, just as much. So it's going to cost, I believe, but I think close to all of your stamina, even if you do have 40 endurance. So it is not an exceptionally good attack to use if you're surrounded by enemies or more than against more than just one enemy, unless you're able to land the Golf Swing on both of them. Ooh. But with that, we have completed Old Yharnam, and we have gotten one of our in-game weapons, the Kirk Hammer. The Kirk Hammer, I don't quite like as much as I do the Hunter Axe, personally. I generally prefer the fact that the Hunter Axe is noticeably faster than it, even in its morph form, and has a bit lower stamina costs. For reference, I use the 3 R1s there. Uses most of my stamina. Versus this 3 R1s. Uses a little bit more. Almost all of it. Whereas this used a little bit less. And this is also noticeably faster, and also has a horizontal at the start of it. So it is actually better for crowd control, and it's also longer. This, on the other hand, with its 3 R1s, it's all vertical, all hits the exact same spot, and also is noticeably slower. Even the wind up of the first swing is noticeably slower. Though its attacks do have a little bit less lag time afterwards than with the Hunter Axe, they again, as I mentioned, do have noticeably slower startup. Due to that, in my opinion, it's better to use the Kirk Hammer in its unmorph form most of the time, as it's a lot faster, does not quite as much damage, but costs a lot less stamina. And I will generally only pull the Kirk Hammer out in its morph form for one big hit, or if I feel like I need to do its L2, the horizontals that are a lot wider. But on that note, this will be the end of the video. I'll be starting back up again, and we're going to do more of Cathedral Ward. See you guys next time.